Hi everybody, welcome to Horrible Gaming. My name is Nora, and on today's video we are building a school. I put schools basically on all of my Citycore builds, and I've had a lot of requests on how I build these, and it is overwhelming looking, but honestly the build is really easy. So today we're just working on the base, because if I was to decorate this fully, we would be dealing with about an hour-long video. So this is just going to be the base of the school today. Definitely decorate this the way you would want to decorate it on your island. If you want some inspo though on how to decorate the rooms once we get the base finished, feel free to visit my Instagram linked below. On almost all of my Citycore builds, I have a school built on them, and you can kind of see how I've decorated the rooms on there. So definitely go check those out. My Instagram, as mentioned earlier, is linked below on the description. So you'll find all these dream addresses in my highlights. I've also wrote in the description all the codes that we're going to be using today, so if you want to recreate this or something similar, I'll have all of those listed out just for y'all. But definitely check out the Instagram that I mentioned previously, because on my city code highlights I have a ton of city codes, because Citycore is my top favorite theme. I do like to do naturals as well, but I got a soft spot for Citycore, so you're going to find a ton, and I mean a ton, of city codes on there. Now you're gonna see me go back and forth quite a bit on this build. This is because I totally wing my builds. I never have a plan when I go into them, so sometimes I need to expand something or I place something wrong, so I'll go back and fix it. But I didn't want to edit this out because I want to show y'all as realistically as possible that even as a creator, when with all of my theme building, sometimes my original plans don't always work and I do mess up, so I am going to be definitely going back and forth quite a bit. So if you're new to my channel or someone just popping in, first of all, thank you so much for coming by. I sure hope that you hit that like and subscribe button. I am trying to reach 2K followers. That is my next goal, so the help and support would mean absolutely so much. I will definitely introduce myself if you are a new follower or somebody stopping in with a couple of little short facts about me. So as mentioned earlier in the video, my name is Nora. I am American streamer and very new YouTuber. I just recently transitioned over to YouTube. There was a lot of requests for me to move my content over here, so I did that about a month ago. And my goal for basically all of my channels and socials is to make as many Animal Crossing themes as possible. Now, my YouTube is going to have other games in the future on it, but I do want my content to be heavily focused on Animal Crossing and other simulation-like games. So I'm hopefully going to be expanding to other games like Minecraft and The Sims eventually, but I just have a huge thing for building, especially in simulation games like this. And it's just honestly an obsession to manipulate items on these type of games, to use them the way basically that Nintendo and other platforms didn't expect us to use them for. I also have an unpatched console running custom firmware. That is why my camera looks zoomed out. So if you're a regular follower, you already know this information. Before our new followers and new incomers, that's how this all looks really wide and, zoomed out. So the only way to achieve this is by having a console that is in patch. If you're interested in modding, definitely check out some YouTube channels that I'm about to mention for y'all, which is Clutch Gaming and Iggy Creates. I'll actually write these out too in the comment section below. Before we continue with the build, another thing I want to add into this is I have a Discord server, and that is also in the description. So if you want to get to know me better and also make some really awesome friends and get into those treasure islands that we host. Treasure islands, if you don't know what they are basically islands full of basically like every item in the game, DIYs, rare items, etc. They're super fun, and it's like being in a candy store. So if you want to get into these, definitely join in Discord. Keep in mind that we host these as time allows. I am a mom in real life, and my mods and admin teams are really busy with their families as well, but we do try to host these every week. Okay, so back to the build. I usually, with every build, including naturals, decorate and work as I go. So again, you're gonna see me go back and forth a lot because I change my mind sometimes on decor, or then a previous idea I was trying to do doesn't usually work out. So I'm just gonna be trying out different items and see what blends best on this build. So we're now going to be placing some fencing, and I love to layer these because it looks really nice and lush. So I am actually going to keep this hedge and fence combo, but in a few seconds you're going to see me change my mind. But then I realized my original idea with the sidewalk will work. It's just sometimes when I'm placing road designs, especially when they're angled like this, I forget how the placement is. So I ended up going back and then replacing everything again. So if any of y'all are doing a Citycore, let me know what your theme is in the comment section below. The reason why I'm asking is I love Citycore obviously a lot, but I want to do another Citycore theme and I don't know exactly what theme I want to do yet. So if y'all have any recommendations, definitely let me know. And of course, if you have any build requests like the Citycore school, for example, we're doing today, those requests help me build on videos so y'all can get, help on builds and stuff like that. So definitely let me know. But I'm just gonna go ahead and now start angling these roads in front of the school, and I'm gonna do like an octagon sort of shape, and we're gonna put like a fountain in the middle of it. So I went ahead and placed all my roads down. If you're somebody needing help on how to place these roads, I do have a video on my channel, so feel free to go check that out. It's a lot slower and we break down on how to place this kind of design. So definitely go check that out if you're a newcomer to Citycore. But I went ahead and just fast forward it because, watching someone place a road when you're looking for a school build like this can get kind of boring. So right now I'm just going around on my roads and adding little details and designs. If I was to be keeping this build, I would definitely be adding more dropped items, but I don't want anything to distract us from the actual school. I know many of y'all want help on how to build a school, so not decorating a bunch is going to help y'all focus on the general layout and design. This layout is gonna work for any theme, so if you're doing kidcore or a traditional Japanese theme or just a modern citycore, this design works for those themes as well. I didn't want to also decorate it because I didn't want anyone to feel like it was limited to specific decor. I've also made Citycore schools in different shades like browns and stuff, so that's why I recommend earlier to definitely go check out those dream addresses in my profile. That way y'all can see how this design can work for other themes. This build is not location specific. The only reason why I chose the end of my map is because this is a flat save and I didn't want the view to look horrible because it literally is a void of nothing. So having the ocean in the background looks prettier. But I do notice that on some of my Citycores I end up putting it near the ocean regardless because I love how the view looks with the water waves and everything from the forced perspective windows that we add when we use the stall. So a heads up, we are going to be using a lot of bookcases, and this is a DIY, so if you are somebody wanting to do Citycore like builds, make sure you're stocked up on bookcases because those are going to be your best friend for builds like this. It really makes a build feel more realistic and looks like a building when you're having all those bookcases layering up on each other. Another suggestion I have is to make sure you're stocked up also on your simple panels. That way when you go to start placing them, you don't have to time travel or wait a day for the rest of them to arrive. Being that we only get 5 a day when you order them, this could take quite a while, so definitely make sure you stock up ahead of time. If you're doing a Citycore though, I definitely suggest making a school build regardless of whatever size y'all choose to do. I love doing rather large ones because not only does it feel really immersive, but it also fills in space. When you're doing Citycore builds like this or just the theme in general, sometimes filling up your island can be very difficult. and this helps your island get full and also makes it feel very big without it being too cluttered. So once I finish placing the rest of these simple panels, I'm going to start mapping out the beginning of the rooms for the school. There's really no set way to place these. Frame it the way you want to, but being that I didn't want this build to be super overwhelming, we're going to keep the rooms rather simple and the size really easy, just because we have some newcomers who may have not done Citycore before, and this can kind of give them something to work with without it being too overwhelming. So I'm going to go ahead and start framing the backside of the walls for the school. As you can see, I'm only using one bookcase, and I like using this kind of method towards the edge of the map for this reason, because now you won't have to risk the other side of the bookcase being seen, being that it's at the edge of the map. But if you are doing this in the middle of your map, I'm pretty sure this won't be able to get seen regardless, but sometimes when you adjust your camera you can notice the bookshelf part of it. But that's why I like doing this either against a higher level terraform or, as mentioned earlier, against the ocean. So sometimes when you're doing school builds like this, you'll notice that sometimes the bookcases don't always line up. One of my favorite items to use for these kind of scenarios is the drink machine, and reverse it, because it looks like little vents on the wall, and it just really does look good for Citycore builds and just for school builds too in general. So you can choose any decor obviously to place on top of them, but I love just using books in general because it suits the school vibe a lot. But if you were doing this for like a house or a different kind of building, definitely decorate it to suit the theme as best as you can. So now I'm going to be expanding this small little section, and for parts like this I usually make them into like a mini locker room or a sitting area. We're not decorating the rooms on this build today, so definitely make it whatever you think would suit best for the location, but that's usually what I do. Now that the base is done, I'm going to start transitioning this little spot into a small parking lot for bicycles. Normally on builds like this, I would add a ton of detail, so if you're somebody looking for a more developed parking lot, definitely check out my other Citycore videos in the description below. So normally if this was a build on my actual island, for all these empty spaces in front of the school, I do other things that a school may have, like sitting areas, a lunch spot, or I include my villager houses somehow into these locations to kind of fill it in more. To kind of see what I'm talking about, check out my most recent dream address, which I'll add also into the description. It is a post-apocalyptic city, but you'll be able to see how I've filled in all the areas around that school. So on the stall part of this school build, I usually make this area into the classroom, and honestly it depends on the size you choose to make it. Being that this is a smaller build, I kept the room really small, but normally I expand it and do like a teacher's desk area and a chalkboard, etc. So now I'm prepping the soccer field area, and normally for this specific design, I'll do it against another level of terraform. So pretend that there's like another building or another level of the school above this, but I'm just gonna frame it out and use simple panels for a chain link fence design, and I do have that design in the description below. We're also gonna be using the base game dirt path, and I'm just gonna fill this area in to start mapping out the soccer field layout. And then again, as mentioned earlier, all the designs that I'm using are already in the description. So if you're wanting to recreate a soccer field on your island, all those codes will be provided. So this is the soccer field design. If you're wanting to do something more detailed, I definitely recommend checking out my Citycore build called Hewn City, which can be found on my Instagram highlights. I have a really nice detailed soccer field on that school build. So if you're somebody who wants something that's a little more detailed and full, I definitely recommend checking that one out. So we are now nearing the end of this video. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and also make sure your notifications are turned on. I post new videos every single week. Let me know y'all's thoughts on this build also in the comment section below. Feel free to recommend future build ideas for my YouTube channel, as most of my videos are all y'all's recommendations and requests. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next video.